Hello again, Empowerment Studio. Kinzie Elizabeth here. We are trying to figure out how to get our special guest, Jessica, into this live. Oh, I think this is so much easier. Okay. Oh, I can invite group members to watch. That's so fun. Okay, I'll do that soon. But Jessica, if you can find our new feed. I am really excited to get our conversation started here. Let's see. And specifically. Okay, it looks like we are live again in the group. Oh, it's 11:11. While we're waiting, what if we make a wish? I wish for Jessica to be able to come join us in this. That would be super, wouldn't it? Oh, yay. Okay, send request. Think it's working. We're getting Jessica in the chat, in the video. Yes!
I'm here.
Jessica, we did it.
Did it.
I'm so pleased. Hi, thank you for sticking with me. That was an adventure in technology, but we made it happen.
Get it out.
So this is awesome. Okay, so I am going to let you introduce yourself in just a moment. But what I first want to say is that Jessica is a Kansas City person also. And your pronouns are she, they, she, her?
She, her.
She, her, great. She has a podcast as well, just like how the Empowerment Studio has a podcast. And I got to be interviewed for the podcast yesterday, and it was so much fun. And we got going on some conversation topics that I was like, the Empowerment Studio literally needs to hear this right now. What are you doing tomorrow? And Jessica was so generous and down to like just jump on with me here. So hello, Jessica. Thank you for being here.
Of course. I'm excited to be here. It was such a great conversation yesterday that I'd love to do it again.
Yay. So if you would first give a little introduction of yourself, say where you are, who you are, what you love, and then we will dive into our topic.
Thank you. I am a happiness coach and consultant here in Kansas City. And so I entered the space of happiness almost 10 years ago now. I launched my company, Project More Happy, in 2018. So 7 years ago, it became official. And my goal is really, and my mission is to make the science of happiness accessible to more people. Because in my heart of hearts, I'm trying to create a world that is more just, that is more loving and compassionate, that is more rooted in our shared humanity, and that honestly looks very different than the world we're navigating today. Yeah. And I choose the lens of happiness because there's all this great research that shows us, one, that we have it wrong, but two, how we can actually design a world that works better for all of us. So that's where my heart is, and I work with companies to really design environments that set everyone up for success. That's the day-to-day work of it.
That's so incredible. And it was really wild because I feel like we are both people who are really drawn to this same topic and have come about it and interact with it in very different ways. And so yesterday on the podcast, which you will get to hear all of this when the podcast is out in a couple of weeks, so definitely circle back and tune in. But I actually very nerdily shared the GROW methodology with Jessica that we have been workshopping and developing in the Empowerment Studio for a little while now. And If you are not familiar, it's a pretty simple framework, which is GROW: ground, revel, own, and witness. And it's a process that we take people through in boudoir sessions. We take people through over and over and over again in the empowerment experience, which is our 6-month group program. And I was sharing these concepts of like get grounded, be in your body, and revel, feel joy in your body, and own, take up space, and be really present, and witness, feel what it feels like, and have that reflected back to you in photos. And Jessica's like, Kinzie, this is 4 of the 8 pillars of happy. Like literally, I was like, this is so cool. So would you give a little rundown of what those pillars are,
Yeah.
Jessica?
It's so funny how it all aligns. So I absolutely love this. My framework that I work through is the 8 pillars of happiness. And they're the 8 skills that research has shown time and time again that if we practice these skills more and more, we get better at them. Just like if you want to be better at a sport, you practice different skill sets in that sport to get better at. And so you practice these more and more, and that enables you to design and create more happiness in your life, because happiness it's something we have agency over for ourselves. So these 8 skills, the 8 pillars, are confidence, authenticity, optimism, gratitude, feeling, compassion. And I always am like, what are all 8 when I'm listing them at once? Because my ADHD brain goes wild. And then curiosity, and the last one, I need my cheat sheet here. I don't even remember what all I said. Feeling? Did I say feeling?
I don't think you did.
And so when we were talking yesterday about the grow method and the 8 pillars, it was very easy for me to go, okay, so that's feeling, that's gratitude, that's confidence, that's authenticity. Those are skills that we can get better at the more we practice them, and it creates more happiness for ourselves in our lives because it allows us to show up as our best selves more often. And it also allows us to rebound a lot quicker when we're in those, mushy, messy moments and having those bad days, because it's life and that's always there. But knowing the skills and being able to practice them is what allows us and gives us power to design lives that we love.
Yes, yes. And we talked yesterday about how people come in for these boudoir photo shoots and they have these really expansive, joyful, connected, like life-changing experiences in the empowerment studio, but then they also have photos as proof of what they did. And I called the photos a talisman to help connect you back to how you felt during your session, to the space you were taking up. And you were like, yes, yes, yes. Talk about the like anchor points
Yeah.
of yeah, something that can reconnect you.
No, I love this. So I actually have all around my office, I have photos for this very reason, because the science shows that when it comes to savoring experiences, and this is why experiences are more powerful in terms of altering our happiness than things, even though we spend more money on things. Experiences are better because we get to experience them 3 different times. We get to anticipate. So if you're getting ready to do this photo shoot, you have this anticipation about it, right? And then you have the experience itself, where you're feeling confident and empowered and bold. And then you have the savoring. And the savoring part is the talisman part. It's the being able to go back to those experiences. So when you have a photo that shows you fully embodied, confident, bold, feeling really one with who you are, when you have a photo of that experience, then that allows you to return to that moment through savoring. And what that does is it actually creates the exact same physiological response in your body that you had during the moment itself. So that's why when we tap back into memories, like we can get chills, or we can feel the excitement of it all over again, or we can transport ourselves back to a moment in time, back to a feeling, because of how savoring works and how we are able to trigger that exact same response in our bodies.
This is so interesting. There's a lot of things running through my head right now, but I'm thinking about how sometimes in the past people have said, Kinzie, I just want to have the experience of being in your studio. Like, I'm not even like necessarily that interested in having boudoir photos, but I do want to have the time of coming into your sacred space and playing and being joyful and connected and receiving weird compliments and all of these things. And I'm like, yes, because I really do think that what we're doing is more of an experience than like, hello, I would like to do some boudoir pictures. Can I have some sexy pictures of myself? Like, we definitely do that too, but this is a bigger investment, both time, energy, and financially, right? Like this is like an experience, right? But to those people, I've always said, yes, come into my studio, let's get connected, let's be joyful. And also, the photos are important too, even if your brain is like, I just need this little boost, but the photos are gonna be, I'm learning from you now, like what connects you over and over and over again to that feeling. So it's not just this 3 hour experience. It is an entire lifetime ahead of you that you get to continue tapping into that experience.
Right, right. So I am like, this is might be an odd example, but it's how a photo works. So I am deathly afraid of heights. Okay. But I was dating my now husband at the time when he suggested we go bungee jumping off of the original bungee jumping bridge in New Zealand together. And I get up there, I'm all suited up, I'm terrified. I turn to the guy, my now husband has already jumped, done his thing, he's down. And I turn to the guy at the top and I'm like, you're going to have to push me off. Like, I can't do this. And he goes, we're not allowed to do that. And jump. That's all. It's fine. And so I did, and I was terrified. But I have that picture hanging in my office of me free falling. Because what it does is whenever I look at it, it reminds me that I can do hard, scary things and that it's actually thrilling and exhilarating. And so seeing that photo can transport me back to how my mind was working in that moment and how I experienced that moment. So that's why we collect photos of people we love, because they trigger those same feelings when we look at the photos. And we can do that to hack our own brains. So we need to feel confident going into a meeting. Pull out that image where you feel very empowered and confident. It is proof for your brain that you've done it before, and it's also a way to create that same feeling in your body to go off and do it again.
I talk about this with like people have mobile apps or mini albums, right? Like very portable on the go boudoir photos and products. And I'm always like, take this into the dressing room with you when you are trying on clothes that don't feel good. And you're like, oh, my body is wrong. My body is broken. And then you can look at it and be like, oh, actually, this body is the same body that was in this photo. And so my body is fine, and it's the lighting and the sizing and the, you know, fast
Yeah.
fashion industrial complex that is actually the problem here. So it's wild to me how much of what we have learned organically to do over the last 13 years is so deeply science backed. I honestly had no idea. It's really cool.
Yeah, no, it's super cool. And the even, the next layer adding on to all of that is the more that you pull out those images, the more you look at them and have that conversation in your brain that says, no, it's the lighting, it's not actually me. Here's my proof point that it's not actually me. The more you do that, the more you're actually rewiring your brain to that new response to be your default. So you are telling your brain to erase all that negative narrative that you've been carrying around for however long you've been carrying it around by just doing the practice over and over. And that's why the practice is so important, because you're literally, like, our brains are malleable, and it's called neuroplasticity, and we can literally rewire our brains to have new default networks. So our default thinking becomes more positive or more empowered or more whatever we need it to be to show up as our best selves.
It's so cool because I tell people, like, sometimes people are like, oh, I want my body to change in X, Y, and Z ways. I want to lose weight, or I want to transition from a gender perspective, or whatever else, right? Have a baby or something. Like, there's just a lot of different, getting older, right? All these different things happen. And sometimes people are like, well, I want to arrive at this point before I come and do my session. And I'm always like, let's photograph you then also. But here's the thing is you've got to actually start that process of connecting with yourself and seeing yourself and retraining that brain pattern so that when your body does change, you actually have that strengthened muscle, that skill set that you can apply to that. Because I've heard from so many people, like I have a lot of clients who come in after their body changing significantly in a way that they thought they wanted or that they did want, right? And they're like, but I've arrived there and I still don't like myself. I still don't like how I look, or I still think of myself as how my old body was. I need to come in for a photo shoot now. And I'm like, yes, I got you. Let me reflect back the magic and beauty that I see in you exactly right now. And also, the message to people who are in that space beforehand, come see me now too, so that we can start that rewiring to support you in the journey as you're going along.
Right. Well, and I think that's the big piece of it is until we do the mind work, until we train our brain to see the beauty of ourselves as we are, no matter what that is, then we can change ourselves physically on the outside again and again, and we're going to keep seeing the defaults. And that's because our brain has the negativity bias. And on top of that, we have a materialistic culture that demands certain very rigid boxes that each of us falls into. And all of this is working against you. And so until you do the mind work to be able to just see the beauty as you are, no matter what the exterior is, then you're always going to arrive and go, I don't love what I see. But when you do the hard mind work, then your default becomes, I'm beautiful no matter what. Even with my flaws that I still see, I see all the beauty around it.
Okay, so Jessica, here's the deal. Like, I think we have just confirmed that it is really a good thing for people to come in and do a photo shoot and to have this rewiring of brain and to have the long-term proof. But there's a step before that, and I hear this so often where people are like, I mean, it's like a lot of different things. I say, oh, are you interested? Oh, no, I could never. I don't have the confidence, right? Or people look at photos of other people, seeing them looking really confident and present in their bodies and go, I wish I could do a boudoir session. I wish I had confidence like that person does. And that's in the way. We are holding ourselves back from having really huge transformative experiences. If we are waiting until we are ready to do the thing, then we maybe don't even need the thing after all. And we started having a really cool conversation yesterday. I would love to explore it some more of what is confidence? Like, what would you say to someone if they were like, I wish I could do a boudoir session, but I'm not confident enough to do it?
Yeah, so what I was saying yesterday, this is a life lesson that I learned and then the science backed up, because confidence has always been like my weakest pillar. I have to practice it all the time. We get confidence wrong because the narrative and the language that we're taught about confidence is that confidence means you have to be the smartest in the room, you have to be the most well-spoken, you have to be, in the sense of photography, you have to be the prettiest, the most beautiful, the most attractive, all of those words, like that you have to be the top in order to have confidence. But what confidence actually is, and that's why I love this space that you've created, what confidence actually is believing that you have access to everything you need to succeed. And so when you look at it from that angle, you go, okay, what is success when I'm getting my photos taken? Like, what is success to me here? Is it just doing it? Like, it doesn't matter what I look like. Confidence might be just putting myself in that situation and doing it. And that is a practice of confidence that makes it easier the next time you're going to do something scary. Or is success having one photo of myself that I think is beautiful? Okay, well, if it's just one photo, then you can dislike 99 of the photos that are taken, and still feel confident that you can get that one image that really captures how you see yourself as beautiful. So confidence first requires you determining what success is in that situation, and then making sure you have the scaffolding in place to allow that to happen. So if I'm going to be confident in this shoot, do I need someone there that is always my cheerleader? Do I need an image of another time when I was confident to take with me there so that I can feel confident in this way? Do I, like, what are those tools and resources that will set me up for success? And so you don't have to arrive to be confident. You have to believe that you can step in and cheat and achieve whatever it is that you're wanting in that moment or experience.
Okay, but I'm hearing people say, but I don't like any pictures of me. I'm not photogenic. Like, no matter what, Kinsey's not going to be like, I know it works for literally everyone else, but I'm going to be the one for whom Kinsey will not be able to make an amazing photo and for whom this process will not work. What, like, how do we allow ourselves that permission to try the thing, even if we don't have proof that we are going to arrive at success, right? Depending on like what success looks like for us.
Yeah. So, yeah, no, that's a great question, because I do think it's really important. One, in that instance, we need to lower our expectations of what success is, right? Like, if we've never felt good in a photo, then I want to feel good experiencing or having the experience, but not necessarily, success isn't the photo itself. But I think, too, the other bigger piece of it, and we talked about this a little yesterday, is we have to practice. So confidence is a practice. And so we're not always, when you play a sport, I usually choose basketball. I'm going to choose baseball here because home runs are easy to visualize. But okay, so when you're just starting out in baseball, like, the goal isn't to have a home run. The goal might be just to, like, hit the ball or not strike out or whatever it is, right? So I think when it comes to doing really hard, scary things that we can't even envision success, it's being able to find or create a safe space to do really small practices.
Yep,
Okay.
just the little
So,
teensy steps.
right, because, like, so when I work with leaders in corporate America, right, it's like you can't go in and demand these huge things if you're scared to tell someone that they let you down on a project, right? You can't, like, do the big things until you're comfortable doing the small things. And if you can't do the small things and you can't do it at work, then maybe you need to practice with your partner at home. Or maybe you need to practice by, say, telling the barista that they got your order wrong when usually you'd be a pushover and just take it, right? Like, so we practice in smaller, safer moments so that we can start building up that confidence to do the harder things. And what I love about the space that you've created is it is that safe space where you can practice and swing and miss, and it's safe, and you're not gonna, like, what's the worst that could happen? It's you in a safe space. And I think a lot of times that's the mindset we go into, is the worst case scenario is what kills our confidence, instead of going, well, what's the best thing that could come out of this experience? So the best thing is I'm going to get the coffee I actually wanted. The best thing is I'm going to have a team member that's now on my side at work. The best thing is that I'm going to try something new and bold, and I'm going to be proud of myself for it, whether or not I like the photos. So what's the
Yeah.
best thing that can come out of it, instead
I
of
love
what's
I love that so much. And it's interesting because I feel like the empowerment studio, like you said, is a really beautiful space to try the thing and know that if you do fall, then there's like really loving humans around to catch you. And I'm thinking about this phrase that I often say is like, you be the expert at you. You don't have to know what boudoir is. You don't have to know how to pose or how to be photogenic or anything. You be you. You be the expert at you. And I will be the expert at boudoir. I am bringing 100, 500, 600 something clients of experience, 13 years of experience to this. Let me guide you through the boudoir side of things. You actually should not know how to do this if you've not done it before. And even if you have done it before, today you has not done it before. So let me guide you through that, and you come to the experience, curious and open, and we can create something together. But if even that, hearing that is still like, oh my gosh, I still could not do this yet. I want to someday, I cannot. These little tiny steps that you're talking about are so important. And that's why we have our Facebook group. That's why we have selfie to self love challenges, where people who have literally never existed in a photo before in their lives take their very first selfie. And that's why we have people who think they maybe will participate in the challenge, but actually sit out around and just watch. And they just notice other people's selfies first. There are so many little teensy baby steps sprinkled along the way that are available to you to begin that practice when you are ready. It's actually also why we created the Empowerment Experience, which is a 6-month group program, including selfies and including all of this around your photo shoot, so that if you're like, I do want to do this, but I literally need so many baby steps first, and I need a huge support system, well, lucky for you, there's 3 months on either side of your session to support you in that process. So
Yeah.
this is cool.
Well, and that's the scaffolding that we were talking about when it comes to confidence, right? It's the believing that I have access to what I need to succeed. And so all of those elements that you just spoke about, that's the access, that's the environment, that's the resources that allows people to step in and up their comfort level little by little, right?
Yeah, and it's funny because I think about, I would not tell someone, "Oh, just go try these baby steps anywhere," right? And don't just jump on for a boudoir session, because I actually have people who come to me and say, I didn't have a great experience in a boudoir session before. And now I would like to heal myself from that or see myself in a really nourishing light, right? And I say that knowing that I'm also not the right boudoir photographer for everyone. There's some people for whom a different boudoir photographer is going to create the right scaffolding for them to take those steps. But that's why I'm like, if you're drawn to me, if you're drawn to my dad jokes and my fun, quirky compliments and this homey, cozy, loving energy that we create, then like if you're seeing that and you're like, okay, I still don't know if I can do it, but like I'm drawn. There's like this little nugget of, ooh, what if? And sometimes that feels so scary, but I think the what if is so beautiful. And I think if you can just allow yourself this space to sit in that and explore it and just like feel it out. And then maybe what's 5% more? What does just that little bit more look like? What does it look like? We're not stepping out of our comfort zones, but what if we stretch our comfort zone a little bit?
Yeah, well, and that's what, that's the line that I hear a lot in my world of coaching, but is said a lot is growth happens at the edge of your comfort zone. So you don't have to leave your comfort zone, but you can't stay in the cozy middle if you want to
Yeah.
grow as a human. So all that growth, as hard as it is, it happens at the edge of the comfort zone. And so if we just take one step closer to the edge, the beautiful thing is the edge keeps expanding too. And so
Yes.
our lives become so much more whole and beautiful when we take those steps around the edge. And when we trust ourselves that we'll be okay when we do it. That's the confidence, and that's when you experience it, it becomes easier because you keep telling your brain, I did that and I was okay, so I can do it again.
Yep. Oh, that's totally it. Well, gosh, I'm so grateful for this time to connect and to explore the science behind all of this magic that we do in the Empowerment Studio. I'm such a believer that science is magical. And so this is cool to like put some tangible little glitter sparkles all around what it is that we're doing here in the
A
Empowerment
lot
Studio.
of glitter sparkles in science too, so we'll
That's
take.
that's amazing. It's amazing. Well, Jessica, we're going to wind us down here. I'm curious if there's anything else you would like to share just on the topics of confidence or taking up space or happiness, and then we will wind us down here.
I think the biggest like through line of all of my work is that we cannot be happy in our lives if we are playing small and trying to fit other people's expectations. And so when we start trusting ourselves to step more fully into our dreams and our voice, it tells our brain that it's safe to be the beautiful human that we were put on this earth to be. And that is the practice of happiness, is showing up wholly as yourself each and every day, sharing your light with other people, lifting one another up, cheering one another on. That is how we create more happiness for ourselves and our lives, but also for the world around us and how we navigate each and every day. Like, yes, there's a lot of science behind it, but it really isn't more complicated than that when you put science into action. So trust yourself that who you are is beautiful and magical, and that you are a gift that other people in this world need. We need the gifts of one another and the light of one another. And when you start trusting that and living it for yourself, then everything changes in your life.
Yeah, and I think that if you don't believe that about yourself, then what we would like to pass on to you is like, we see that in you and you deserve it. And so here's a beautiful space where you can practice that expansion and taking up that space. So
Yeah.
cool. Okay, Jessica, would you give us a little rundown on how people can follow you and where they can find the podcast so that when our episode drops in a couple weeks, they can tune in?
Yeah, absolutely. So I am Project More Happy. On Insta, I'm actually the More Happy Coach because that's how it fell out when I was doing all my branding. But I'm on Facebook, I'm on LinkedIn, I'm on Instagram, and the website is projectmorehappy.com. And the podcast is there. Your episode, I think we decided was July 30th. It's in a couple, like 2.5 weeks. Although I just edited all the reels today, and so fun.
Oh, that's
And
exciting.
I know they're so good. But you can also just find it wherever you stream your podcast. It's just the Project More Happy podcast. So,
Amazing. As soon as we log off, would you be down to go drop a couple of those links in
oh,
a
absolutely.
comment on this video? And then that way people can just click through and find the things and come hang out with you further because I find you to be so captivating and fascinating to talk to. And I'm so grateful that our worlds overlapped in this lovely way.
Same. I am. This is the start of such a beautiful like friendship, relationship, collaborative partnership here, and I'm just so excited that you reached out originally and that we just keep having these conversations. So thank you for inviting
No,
me
it's
today.
making my little nerdy heart so happy.
Good. Yay. Mission accomplished.
Awesome. Well, Jessica, thank you so much. Empowerment Studio, goodbye. I love you. Model Call closes Friday, July 11th at 11:59 p.m. Central Time. So apply before then if you are hearing all of this and you're like, what if this could be me? I dare you to just fill out the application. Honestly, I think that's the hardest part. Once you've started the application, you submit, like we got you on all the rest. So, okay, everyone, thank you so much. Until the next time. Bye. Bye, Jessica.